So we are supposed to be using the formula D is equal to RT to find the value. So the idea is D equals RT. So D stands for distance, R stands for rate, and T stands for time. So like if you are driving your car at a certain speed, that's R, for a certain amount of time, this formula will tell you how far you would travel. So let's say maybe we're walking. So R is equal to 9. So we're going to replace R with 9, and T is 4. So we're going to replace T with 4, and that is going to give us our answer for D. And since 9 times 4 is 36, that tells us that D is equal to 36. Got a little more of the same, just bigger numbers. So we're going to start with that D is equal to RT formula. We're told that D is 111. So I'm going to replace D with 111. And we're told that T is 37. We're not told what R is, so R is going to stay the same, but T becomes 37. So if I wanted to, I could make that a little bit neater by saying 111 is equal to 37R. That step is kind of optional. So now we need to solve for R. So we're going to divide both sides by 37. And we know that 37 divided by 37 gives us 1. So our right side is R, and the left side is 3, because 111 divided by 37 is 3. So R is equal to 3. So the rate must be 3 feet per second, because that's what it says, feet per second. I don't know, maybe we're talking about a dog walking or something like that. More of the same, but this time we're supposed to find T. We're supposed to find the missing value, which is T. So we're going to start with our formula. D is equal to RT. We're told that D is 160. We're told that R is 40. And we're not told what T is. And that's what we're supposed to find out. Now it's just an algebra equation. 40 times T. So how do you get the T by itself? Well, you divide both sides by 40. So 40 divided by 40 gives us 1. So you've got T is equal to 4, because 160 divided by 4 is 4. So T is 4, and in this case it stands for 4 hours. All right, good stuff here. It says Harry drove for 3 hours on the freeway, then he decreased his speed by 20 miles per hour, and then he drove for 4 more hours on a country road, so at that slower speed. If his total trip was 361 miles, then what was his speed on the freeway? Oh my gosh. So this is not as hard as it seems, trust me. We're going to draw a picture, because that picture is going to help us. So here's Harry. And the first thing Harry does is he starts here and he drives. All right. Now that is D is equal to RT. We're told that he drives for 3 hours, but we're not told his speed. It just says he drove. All right. So this D, and I'm going to call it D1. This D1 is found by saying R times 3. All right, that's the freeway. Freeway. Then he drives on a country road. All right, and the country road also has a D equals RT, but I'm going to put D2 because that's the second distance. He had the freeway distance and then the country distance. All right, and we're told that his speed is 20 miles per hour slower than over here. So if this speed was R, that means this speed is going to be R minus 20. Decreased his speed by 20. So that's going to become D2 is equal to, and I'm going to put in parentheses r minus 20, and we're told that he drives for 4 hours. So t is equal to 4. All right. Now the cool thing is we're told if we add both of these together, so if we add this plus this, we're supposed to get 361 miles because it says so somewhere. Where's the 360? Oh, there. 361 miles. So that's telling us that this distance plus this distance is equal to 361. So let's write that down. 3r plus 4 times r minus 20 equals 361. So this distance is r times 3, but I simplified it to 3r. This distance is quantity r minus 20 times 4, but I put the 4 in the front because that's more traditional. And we know that if we add these two guys, we get 361. So now we just have a fancy old algebra problem. So you've got 3r plus, and then this becomes 4r minus 80 equals 361. 3r plus 4r gives us 7r minus 80 equals 361. So we know that if we add 80 to both sides, you're going to get 7r is equal to, oh golly, what is that? 441. And so r, we're going to divide by 7. So r ends up being 63. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I want to show the key steps here. What's the key steps? First, I tried to draw a picture. It's not a fancy picture, it just helps me organize my thinking. And using that picture, I was able to write my equation, and then I did everything in a nice fancy way, a nice neat way, kept the equal signs all in a line. And so r equals 63. Well, what was r? R was his freeway speed. So what was his freeway speed? In this case, it was 63, which means his country speed would have been 43 because it was 20 miles slower. But they didn't want us to answer that part. They just wanted the freeway speed. All right, so we have an athlete running. All right, and so first the athlete jogs at 5 miles per hour, and then he jogs at 6 miles per hour. So you've got these two, I don't know, episodes, right? So we're first and then second, all right? So the first and second, all right? And the first, he jogs 5 miles per hour. So we know that this r is going to be 5. And then he jogs at 6 miles per hour. So I'm going to replace that r with a 6. And it says he travels 7 miles in 1.3 hours. Now, that's a lot of information in just a couple of words. So this key right here, 1.3 hours. So do we know how long he jogged for 5 miles? Jogged at 5 miles per hour? Nope. So we're going to leave that as t. Now, do we know how long he jogged at 6 miles an hour? No. But we know that his total time was 1.3 hours. So his time over here is going to be 1.3 minus t, because whatever time he used up here, you got to subtract from the 1.3, and that's what's left over at running at this speed. Now, the cool thing is we know that if you add this distance, I'm going to call it d1, and add this distance, d2, we are told it's going to be 7 miles because it says so right here. And so now we're going to just write out the algebra equation that 5t plus 6 times 1.3 minus t, those two distances put together equals 7. So we're going to put equals 7. And now we are going to solve. And so using our distributive property, you get 5t plus, now this ends up being 7.8 minus 6t equals 7. And then we've got some simplifying here. So we've got 5t minus 6t, so that gives us negative 1t plus 7.8 equals 7. And then we're going to subtract 7.8 from both sides, so that makes that go away. So you end up with negative 1t is equal to negative 0.8. And this kind of unusual, divide both sides by negative 1, that ends up with t is equal to 0.8. All right, so now what did t stand for? T stood for the amount of time that he jogged at 5 miles an hour. So that's 0.8. So this 0.8 is the amount of time that he jogged at 5 miles an hour. Now, how long did he jog at the 6 miles an hour? Well, we know that he jogged 1.3 hours total, and 0.8 of those hours were at 5 miles an hour. So subtracting gives us 0.5. So that means he jogged at 6 miles an hour for a half an hour. So there are your two answers, 0.8 and 0.5. All right, so you've got two cyclists leaving a city at the same time. So here's our city. One is going east, and the other is going west. The westbound guy, his D is equal to RT, west and east. And there's our city. He's traveling 12 miles an hour faster than the eastbound cyclist. All right. And then so the eastbound cyclist is D equals RT as well. Now it says after 3 hours, they are 108 miles apart. So what does that mean? Well, if T is 3, because we're told it's 3. Now it says that the westbound cyclist is 12 miles faster than the eastbound cyclist. So I'm going to also put the 3 over here. Now, if the eastbound cyclist is traveling at, let's say, 10 miles an hour, then the westbound, you have to add 12 to it, is traveling at 22. All right? If the eastbound guy is traveling 100 miles an hour, then the westbound is 112. You just add 12 to it. So if the eastbound cyclist was traveling at R miles per hour, that means the westbound cyclist is traveling at R plus 12. So then we can fill in the rest of the equation. So D is equal to, here's the westbound rate times time, and D is equal to the eastbound rate times time. And we're told that if you add these two distances together, you should get 108 because it says so right here. All right, so now we're going to add those together. So you've got 3 times r plus 12 plus 3 times r. So I just added those two together, and I get 108 because that's the entire distance. This distance plus this distance equals 108. So now we're going to do a little bit of algebra. Got some distributive properties. So you've got 3r plus 36 plus 3r equals 108. And then we can combine like terms. So we get 6r plus 36 is equal to 108 because 3r plus 3r is 6r. We're going to subtract both sides by 36. So you end up with 6r is equal to, oh my gosh, what is that? 272. And then divide both sides by 6. And that gives us r is equal to 12. So r is equal to 12. Yay! But what is r? So r is the eastbound speed. So east is 12 miles per hour. And then the westbound speed is going to be 24 because he travels 12 miles an hour faster. So eastbound is 12, westbound is 24 miles per hour. And so you got to be careful to put your answers in the proper order. In my case, it says you're supposed to enter in the westbound first, so that would be 24, and then the eastbound is 12. And that wraps up this video.